Welcome to TV News. Princess of Wales leads the stars as they arrive for her Christmas carol service at Westminster Abbey. The Princess of Wales has arrived for her annual Christmas carol service at Westminster Abbey this evening, alongside 1,600 guests. Kate will preside over the Together at Christmas service in London, now in its 5th year, which features a host of celebrities from Kate Winslet to Katie Melua. The Princess and Prince William's children, Prince George, 12, Princess Charlotte, 10, and Prince Louis, 7, were also in attendance, as they were last year. The hour-long service will celebrate the power of reaching out. But singer Hannah Waddingham pulled out at the last minute because of issues with her voice. William, Winslet, and actor Chiwetel Ejiofor will all give readings during the event, which will recognize community stalwarts and honor love in all its forms. Celebrity chef Dame Mary Berry, who has created a Christmas wreath on display in the Abbey, will also be among the guests alongside leading sportswomen. The princess arrived shortly after 4 p.m. ahead of her family for last-minute checks and to meet some of the guests, followed by Winslet, festive in red, and Ejiofor. Outside the Abbey this evening, the area had been transformed into a winter wonderland, while trees inside were decorated with fairy lights and poinsettias. The Daily Mail understands that while Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie were invited to attend the event, both were unable to join other family members. It is believed they were touched at the invitation, but had previous commitments. Melua, Fisherman's Friends, and Griff will perform on a roster also featuring Dan Smith from pop rock band Bastille, but Waddingham has been replaced. The Ted Lasso actress was due to sing the much-loved carol in the bleak midwinter, but minutes before guests arrived, it was revealed she would not perform as her singing voice has been compromised from an exhausting filming schedule. The singer Zach Abel will now perform another carol, Silent Night, in her place, although this will not be reflected in the order of service due to the late change. Waddingham will still be in the congregation for the service, which will recognize individuals from across the UK who may have dedicated or volunteered their time to be present with others, led initiatives that bring people in their community together, or offered a helping hand to those around them. Among those invited is schoolgirl Madison Reed, who last year raised more than £1,360 for the Archie Foundation by Highland dancing in 26 locations across Scotland, each beginning with a different letter of the alphabet. She raised the funds for the charity, which supports sick children receiving medical care in northeast Scotland, along with their families. In a letter that will be available to all guests, the princess has praised community stalwarts invited to the service, telling them they are making an extraordinary difference to the lives of others. She also extols the virtues of the Christmas period that reminds us how deeply our lives are woven together, adding that despite life feeling fragmented or uncertain at times, the festive season invites us to remember the power of reaching out to one another. In her letter, Kate says, "This carol service offers a moment of collective togetherness, a chance to celebrate the spirit of community and service, and to honor the visible and invisible bonds that unite us all. The time, care, and compassion you give, often quietly and unspoken, and without any expectation or recognition, make an extraordinary difference to the lives of others." Another selfless worker who will join the guests is Ann Davies, a volunteer cook for almost a decade with the Moses Project, a charity providing mentoring and support for men with past and current addictions to drugs and alcohol. The 80-year-old also volunteers as a responsible adult at Middlesbrough Police Station, supporting vulnerable people who have been arrested. Kate also says in her letter, "Christmas is a time that reminds us how deeply our lives are woven together. Just as the roots of trees share strength beneath the soil, unseen but vital, so too do we. We are drawn by an instinctive pull towards belonging and connection. Even with all the rushing around and familiar traditions, there is a quieter sense of what it calls out in us. There is a softness to the season that reminds us of something easy to forget, that what we do matters. Our words, our choices, and even the ways we look out for one another, they ripple outward, touching lives we may never see." During the event, readings linked to the theme of love, compassion, and connection will be delivered by Winslet and Ejiofor, comic Babatunde Ailshi, and rising actor Joe Locke, with the speakers accompanied by pianist Paul Gladstone Reed. Among the other guests will be members of England Women's Rugby World Cup winning squad, Rosie Galligan, Helena Rowland, Jess Breach, and Marley Packer, a number of the Wales women's rugby team, including Captain Alex Callender and Lioness Michelle Adjeming, a member of England Women's Euro 2025 winners. Former England rugby captain Lewis Moody, who recently announced he has motor neuron disease, has been invited, as has Holocaust survivor Stephen Frank, who was photographed by Kate in 2020 to commemorate the 75th anniversary of the end of the Holocaust. The nation's Second World War veterans are expected to be represented by Jack Mortimer, a corporal with the Royal Army Ordnance Corps who landed on Sword Beach on D-Day, and John Eskdale, who saw combat with the Malta convoys in 1942 and was involved in the invasion of Sicily in the summer of 1943. Ambassadors and friends of the Royal Horticultural Society, gardener Arid Anderson, florist Simon Lysett, and TV presenters Angelica Bell and Tom Allen, who all helped make wreaths on display in the Abbey with school children, will also be among the guests. Guests will see candles lit by people William and Kate have met in recent years, and others taking part in the service, which will also showcase the stories of some of those invited, who are helping to create a more caring and connected society. They will be greeted by a festive display created by horticulturist Jamie Butterworth based on the importance of nature in our lives, while the Royal Horticultural Society is set to donate wreaths made by their ambassadors, including Dame Mary and schoolchildren. The congregation will be able to add their names to a connection tree, symbolizing the power of togetherness and the importance of moments of connection with one another. The late Duchess of Kent's charity Future Talent, which she co-founded to support musically gifted children from low-income backgrounds, will also feature during the service, with a brass ensemble of 8 teenagers playing as guests arrive. And for the first time, an illustrator will be sketching snapshots of the atmosphere inside the Abbey to capture moments as they happen. Among the other guests invited were Anna and Jonathan Cordiner from Aberdeenshire, who tragically lost their 2-year-old daughter Kaylee to a terminal brain tumor in 2012. The couple made it their mission to do everything they could to make her last few months as precious and comfortable as possible, creating happy memories together. Following her death 6 months later, they established the charity Kaylee's We Stars to provide financial support for families where a child has a terminal illness. The charity aims to remove the financial burden from parents so they can spend meaningful time with their child when it matters most. It is funded through their own events and through people choosing to fundraise in various ways, including sporting events, workplace or school-based challenges, and memorial collections. To date, over 700 families have been supported, and more than £1 million has been awarded in grants. Mrs. Cordiner, 44, said, "We got a lovely surprise. We got an email from the Lord Lieutenant of Aberdeen, just basically saying, we would love for you to represent us and go down to London for the service." Her 42-year-old husband continued, "We lost Kaylee in 2012. We like talking about it. That's one of our favorite topics of conversation, actually, is to get to talk about her. So we had Kaylee for 2 incredible years. She was our firstborn, and, we were in our mid-20s. We were relatively young when we had Kaylee, and she was the first grandchild, first niece. She just completely changed our lives. She started getting poorly at 18 months when she felt poorly. She started to wobble on her feet, and we were kind of in and out of the doctors. They investigated balance, ears. And then, just leading up to Christmas, she started to be sick, and we thought, is it a bug? On Boxing Day, she was particularly unwell. We were at my mom and dad's, and we just went straight into hospital with her. And we didn't come home till the end of January. They anticipated that she would have had 3 months to live. Kaylee lived for 6 months, and what was really quite special about that time is that she was quite well. So we had the opportunity to go and have the most incredible time. Both of us were teachers at the time. So we had our employers gave us the time off that we needed to just go and make that the most of Kaylee's life. We made so many lovely memories. It was during that time that we kind of met lots of families and facing similar challenges. They maybe weren't quite as fortunate as us, maybe didn't have the employers or the support networks, right, about them and family. And that was where the charity was born. It was really just a desire to support families in the same situation. We want to help families spend time together when it matters and make those memories that we got. We are quite unique in what we do. There's lots of different charities that provide different kinds of support for families at that time, but nobody doing what we were doing, which was basically financial support. Perhaps a family needs a special trip to relieve financial pressure, pay the mortgage, cover the fact that parents aren't working because they're self-employed. What people might not consider is the fact that it's actually a really expensive time for a family. Going through all of that, traveling, doing everything that they. So we were determined that families weren't going to have to think about money at such impossible times. Mrs. Cordiner continued, I think our invitation today is an acknowledgement of what the wider community has achieved in Kaylee's name. It's an important acknowledgement of all of the work that goes on behind the scenes with volunteers and fundraisers and local businesses. That's where the strength of the charity is. The community. This is an incredible opportunity to bring people together. I love any kind of cause where people are brought together, and that's what this is. There's the most amazing people here today doing incredible things I've just never heard of. It's very humbling. I feel very privileged to be part of it. The Power of Love theme was picked because in a world that can often feel fragmented and disconnected, the service will bring people together to celebrate love in all its forms, organizers say. Some 15 community carol services, held in places including the Coronation Street Visitor Center, an arts center in Newbury, and a community farm in Gwent, are also set to take place across the UK with the same love and togetherness theme, and those guests will also receive Kate's letter. The full list of locations for the community services is Armagh, Berkshire, Derbyshire, Dumfries, Dyfed, East Riding, Gwent, Greater Manchester, Isle of Wight, Lanarkshire, Nottinghamshire, Renfrewshire and Ayrshire, Suffolk, Wiltshire and Worcestershire. These services are to be hosted by Lord Lieutenants and supported by the Royal Foundation. The service will air on ITV1 and ITVX on Christmas Eve and again on Christmas Day. That's all for now on TV News. We'll continue to follow these stories and bring you updates as they happen. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay informed. Thanks for watching.